The Oscars have a type. Give them a tortured genius with a microphone, a tragic backstory, and a few musical montages, and you've basically printed your ticket to award season. From rock gods to classical prodigies, these are the true stories the Academy just can't quit, even when they probably should have. Today, I'm counting down the 10 music biopics that hit all the right notes with Oscar voters, for better or worse. There's a certain kind of movie the Academy just can't resist, and it's the music biopic. The perfect Oscar cocktail, a real-life artist, a touch of tragedy, a few show-stopping performances, and just enough prosthetic makeup to remind voters that they're watching a, quote, transformation. For decades, the marriage between the music biopic and the Oscars has been passionate, if not a little predictable. These are the films that let actors become legends, and the Academy devours that narrative, almost every time. For this countdown, I'm only focusing on the music biopics that broke into the Academy's upper tier. That would be things like Best Picture or one of the lead acting categories. Those are the benchmarks of true Oscar validation in the history books. And while I like every film here, the bottom few are more paint by number, greatest hits kind of variety. While the upper ones, and as we go through the countdown, they dare to find their own rhythm, turning biography into something bold, emotional, and unforgettable. I also want to point out, when I was doing my research and coming up with my top 10, there's about 5 or 6 music biopics that I have not seen that did receive lead acting or Best Picture nominations. But since I haven't seen them, I didn't even think about including them on this countdown. These are the 10 that I like that did get those nominations. Rami Malek's transformation into Freddie Mercury was a moment. And while I respect the craft, I was lukewarm on this win. Truthfully, it felt inferior to most of that year's field. Bradley Cooper, by the way, would have been my true winner for A Star Is Born. Bohemian Rhapsody plays things frustratingly safe, dodging the harder truths of Mercury's life in favor of fan service and nostalgia. Still, as a lifelong Queen fan, I can't deny the rush of that Live Aid sequence in the last act, or Malek's total commitment. It earned 5 nominations, including Best Picture, winning 4 of them. I like the movie, but Oscar-worthy is a bit of a stretch. Jamie Foxx didn't just play Ray Charles in a movie, he channeled him. I felt like I was watching Ray, body and soul. His Oscar win for Best Actor remains one of the genre's high points. And the film grabbed 6 nominations overall, including Best Picture. Yet Ray walks that familiar path, the tortured genius, the downfall, the redemption arc. It's the music biopic formula, printed in triplicate. Still, Foxx's performance is so electric, it almost transcends the template itself. It's the kind of movie that proves how a single extraordinary performance can elevate ordinary or bland storytelling overall. Baz Luhrmann's Elvis is pure sensory overload, a neon-lit fever dream that never takes a breath. Austin Butler's Best Actor nomination and BAFTA win captured the magnetism and melancholy of Presley with eerie precision. Anchoring a film that's otherwise a stylistic tornado, it did score 8 nominations, including Best Picture, though 0 wins. Beneath the glitter and the gyrations is a surprisingly tragic story about exploration and identity, one that Luhrmann's extravagance both amplifies and occasionally buries. It's exhilarating, exhausting, and undeniably alive. I gotta tell you, James Mangold is one of my favorite filmmakers, and him and the source material here deserve credit for throwing out the biopic rulebook. There's no cradle-to-grave timeline in this biopic. Instead, we're simply dropped into Bob Dylan's 1960s headspace with no map, no destination, and somehow it's thrilling. Timothée Chalamet's performance, a lot of my channel regulars know that I love it, received him a lead actor nomination. It's an all-timer. It's intimate, mysterious, and lived in. Alongside its Best Picture nomination and many others, A Complete Unknown proves that restraint can be revolutionary. We don't know how we got here or where we're going next, and thanks to Chalamet and a soundtrack full of Dylan bangers, we don't really care. Roman Polanski's The Pianist redefines the term music biopic, focusing less on performance and more on survival through art. Adrian Brody's Oscar-winning turn, which by the way, he is still the youngest actor ever to win Best Actor, is hauntingly internal, built on silence as much as sound. Out of 7 nominations, it won 3, including Best Director and Adapted Screenplay. What sets it apart is how it treats music not as a spectacle or entertainment, but as salvation, a fragile tether to humanity in a pretty inhumane world. Shine tells the story of pianist David Helfgott with remarkable empathy. Jeffrey Rush's Oscar-winning performance balances the manic and the miraculous, revealing how genius and pain often share the same keys. This film earned 7 nominations, including Best Picture. It's less about virtuosity and more about the cost of brilliance. A portrait of a man consumed by the very gift that defines him. Quietly devastating, it lingers long after the final notes. Joaquin Phoenix takes on legendary Johnny Cash. He doesn't imitate him, he embodies him, including his contradictions. The film earned 5 nominations, with Reese Witherspoon taking home the Best Actress Oscar that year as June Carter. Together, they create a portrait of love, addiction, and artistry, and it's deeply authentic. Structurally, Walk the Line isn't reinventing the wheel, but it was also before we were in this music biopic fatigue phase. It does have emotional rhythm, and it's flawless in that respect. It's the rare biopic that captures not just a musician's sound, but the soul behind it. It's flawed, but it's also very human. Sissy Spacek's Oscar-winning turn as Loretta Lynn is a masterclass in immersion. 7 nominations, including Best Picture, and every one of them earned. The film succeeds because it resists melodrama. It's grounded, authentic, and deeply respectful of its subject. Coal Miner's Daughter captures the spirit of a woman who fought her way from poverty to stardom without ever losing her roots. It's less about fame and more about identity, and that's what makes it timeless. I will also have a soft spot for this one because it's one of the very first Oscar baity films that my father introduced me to, being such a huge Loretta Lynn fan, which I still am to this day. Angela Bassett's portrayal of Tina Turner remains one of the most volcanic performances to ever be nominated in a lead category. She and Lawrence Fishburne both earned Oscar nods, and they set the screen ablaze. This film doesn't flinch from the pain. It confronts abuse, survival, and reinvention with honesty that still stings. Bassett didn't win, but her performance transcended the award itself. It doesn't really matter. This isn't just a biopic. This is a battle cry. The sound of a woman reclaiming her voice. It feels criminal that Bassett does not have the Academy Award for this performance. Simply put, this is the crown jewel of music biopics. Amadeus won 8 Oscars, including Best Picture, Director, and Actor for F. Murray Abraham, and it remains the gold standard for the genre. It's operatic in scope, but intimate in theme. A story about envy, divinity, and the unbearable loneliness of genius. Milos Forman turns 18th century Vienna into a battleground between talent and mediocrity, faith and ego. 40 years later, it still plays like a symphony of madness and perfection. Everyone's sense has been chasing it, and most are still, sadly, off-key. Again, folks, there are a handful of music biopics that did receive top-of-the-line Academy Award nominations. If they did not turn up in this top 10 or I didn't mention them on today's video, I probably have not seen them. These are the 10 that I saw and that I remember and that I hold fondly. In some cases, fondly might be a stretch, like Bohemian Rhapsody, but I did like that movie and I did find it enjoyable. I just don't think it should have been in so many Oscar categories, let alone wins. But here we are. The last thing I'm going to do is ask you what your favorite music biopic that has gained Oscar notoriety over the years is. Please let me know down below in the comments, and what did you think of my top 10 list? And don't forget about channel memberships. I need help to keep the machine rolling out here so I can spend time recording and editing these rankings and predictions and everything else I do around movies and award season for you guys. If you're interested in that, just click join and you can read all about it. And of course, I really appreciate all my current members. I will see you guys very soon as my updated power rankings are right around the horizon out here in the garage.